Hi, I'm Chris Haigh, this is the Fiddle channel, and today I'm going to do you a video about chopping. Now, what is chopping? Chopping is the technique I've just been showing you. It's a percussive technique, more about percussion than melody, and it grew out of bluegrass. It was originated by Richard Green, who was playing with Bill Monroe and was told to play more rhythm and less fills, and rather than doing, he decided it was easier to do play down at the heel, and at that time he was doing what was the traditional idea of chopping, which is basically a standard, very short at the heel down bow. But he, noticing the way that the mandolin plays very dead and percussive, then he evolved that into a completely dead sound with the bow chopping forward. That was the start. Darol learnt it off Richard Green, and he found it very useful with bands like the Turtle Island String Quartet, which enabled a band of strings with no guitars to be able to put in a backbeat using this technique. And Darol developed it a lot and has done an excellent video on it. Driessen has taken it to a completely new level, where basically it's kind of a solo technique. Basically it's a showing off technique, and he does it ever so well. Everything I know about chopping has been learnt from other people's videos, so please don't consider me a source for any of this, but I do think I've got to the bottom of some of how it works, and I will refer to some of the videos that I've learned from. So I hope you don't think I'm stealing too much from these wonderful players. So I'm going to show you some very basic beginnings, and I'll take you through various actual useful licks that you can use. So start off, your bow hold should include a thumb bent slightly outwards. I think if you bend it in, then it could cause problems. And you should angle your bow slightly forward. So instead of chopping vertically down, you're chopping forwards, and your bow is angled away so that the hairs aren't hitting vertically down, but they're hitting away. So as close to the heel as you can get. Try doing this. And if you tap your foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, chop. So it's a completely dead sound, there's no note coming out of it at all. You can either bring it off or you can hold it down. So that's your on beat, and if you look at the sheet music that comes with this, if a diagonal line instead of a proper note is what indicates this downward chop. Now, for the on beat, we're going to tap backwards close to the bridge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going forwards. We're starting at back, forwards, and as we go back, we're going back to almost to the bridge, and we're just ever so lightly tapping it. Notice my fingers are deadening all the strings at the moment, nothing's happening sound-wise apart from the chop. So 2 positions, forwards and backwards, and the hand is angling at the wrist to go forwards, backwards, forwards, back. So that the forward angle of the bow straightens out as you come back. Now, to add to that pattern, play an A and an E together. So we're doing chop, back, and chop again. So we're going chop, back, chop, back, chop. Now, it looks easy, it takes a long time, so if you're finding already this pretty difficult, just play this through as many times as you want. You can slow this video down, as with any video. Just look in the controls on the YouTube setting at the bottom right hand corner. You can see that little round thing. That allows you to slow down, which is indeed what I did an awful lot when I was learning this. So again... Now, we're no longer deadening the strings with our hand, so as you come off, you'll notice that up, just the act of lifting it up, makes a sound. So that's something we're going to use. Really slow. You can hear it ringing. Take a look at the music and you'll see that we now have actual sounds on the first, no sound, sound, so we've got notes there. Again, if I've lost you already, just keep on going back and slowing it down. Next step, we're going to play 2 notes at the beginning and then the chop. And again, notice that we're getting the sound as we come off. Now, next step, we're going to flatten that E for that note. I'll slow it down again. Notice the bow keeps on going forwards and backwards. This is a bit like cycling with a fish balanced on your head and with your hands behind your back. Not easy at all. Once you've got used to it, it is quite easy, but that backwards and forwards movement and the up and down has got to become totally natural. And this leads us finally to Casey Driessen's bassline chop, as he describes in the video, which hopefully you will see a link for right here, where he skims through his different techniques. So we have... slow down again. So, I think you'll agree that's a lot of fun. Before we go on, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you should and how you shouldn't use this. I do a lot of my gigs either accompanying a singer or playing with a full band, a kind of a covers band, where we do a lot of rock and pop stuff, where basically there isn't a lot for the fiddle to do. And in both of these contexts, the chop is a really useful thing because you can do it in a discreet way. where you're adding to the rhythm without getting in the way. So you don't do it loud, and you're just kind of keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself into the groove of the music without playing all over the top of everything. And it does contribute a lot, particularly when I'm just playing with acoustic guitar and double bass. It adds a lot in terms of the percussion that drums would be adding. And when the drums are there, I'm doing it more for my own enjoyment than anybody else's. If you do this in the wrong context, then people will hate you for it. And Darol, who's talked a lot about this, he refers to the beautiful sound of chopping stopping. And if you do it too much, then people will get really annoyed. So it's great when you're playing solo, and in fact people who do fiddle singing, who sing with their own fiddle accompaniment, find this really useful, and there are some good examples of that. If you're doing looping, it's really useful as well. If you're playing in a small band, it's useful, and if you're discreet, then in a larger band. But don't ever try this in, let's say, a traditional session. Even in bluegrass, it's in a very discreet way it's okay, but one of these fancy patterns, people are just going to they're going to ask you to leave if you do too much of it. So having said that, let's move on to some a basic rock pattern. So if you're playing in with that kind of rhythm, dead and old strings, start off at the bridge, and it's on, off, and then chop, off, on, off, chop, off. And what we got is the backbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add some notes. Let's add a F sharp, G, F sharp, E. I'll slow it down again. So it's down, up, chop, off, bring it back. So I'm playing the melody notes at the bridge, and I'm doing the chopping forward. Let's add a double stop, so we're going to put an A underneath the F sharp, and a B underneath the G, and a A under the E. So we go. And now just showing off with a bit of syncopation. But don't try that, just do this at the simple pattern. So here's a development of that pattern. So without the chops, I'll slow that down again. Now, here's a pattern of threes, so dak to dak to dak. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So we're going dak, 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 dak. Very satisfying. Okay, and here's the Bo Diddley rhythm. And with some notes added Now there's also some really nice Latin rhythms you can do. So this pattern, do do dat do do dat do do dat do dat. The accents are again forwards, do do, starting off at the bridge with an up and down, lift off, and then we've got do dat do. It's two quick downs and then two quick ups, where an up is a lift off. Do do da da do da da do do da da do da do do da da do da. And you can appreciate this when you hear a bit of backing. And what's great about this pattern is if you're playing with other people, then you can just drop back to this pattern and you're not really doing anything. You can be playing as quietly as you like, but you are fully involved in what's going on. It really is quite addictive, chopping, as I've found over the last few years. Now here's a great Clave pattern that I learnt, and it's based on an F with a C under it. You bring the C down to a B, leaving your second finger where it is. You leave the F there again and you bring your second finger over to a B flat. Third finger on. So first of all, that's what we're doing. Down, 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 down. And here you can let the upper two strings, the open A and E, ring as well. And finally, I'm going to show you a pattern I learned from a video from Marvin who's duetting with one of his students doing this. They take it in turns to do the riff whilst the other one does an improvisation. So I'll show you the riff first. So the notes we're playing: E over a B, E over a C, and then E flat over a B. So it's down, go down, go down, go down. So, one of many great videos. Check them all out, and I'm sure you'll be inspired. Oh yes, and finally you must watch, if you watch nothing else, the ultimate chopping video with singing is Casey Driessen fiddling and singing on a gondola. So basically he's going up a mountain, he's got his fiddle, I think there's someone in there with a camera filming him as he sings and does the most amazing chopping pattern. and remarkably someone has taken the trouble to transcribe what is obviously an improvisation that he's doing. He's singing Working on a Building, and I've tried this with great difficulty. I'm not going to try it now, but yeah, you must watch that. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have got to the end of it but think I really can't manage this at all, then go right back to the beginning, do it as many times as you want, as slow as you like. Check out the other people's videos and you will get there in the end. I'm going to play you out with a little bit of kind of jazz, funk, rock, just to show you the kind of fun you can have just improvising with the chop. And I hope you will treat it wisely, because with great power comes great responsibility. See you soon. Oh, and if you want a copy of all of these dots, which will take you about 6 months to get through, then subscribe, send me an email and I'll send you a copy. See you soon.